Merry Christmas, beloved brothers and sisters. I'm so delighted to share in this year's Christmas message with you. There is this beautiful painting by the American artist Edward Fish. The title of the painting is Creation. When you gaze at this painting, you feel and see its gentleness and its strength. You feel its beauty and its truth. The painting is not busy, nor is the painting rough. The painting is simply concerned with being. In Edward Fish's painting, you see the beautiful hands of God gently holding the soft body of a man and a woman. And then the man and a woman in turn hold their baby in a profound sense of affirmation and love. There is something about the painting of Edward that reminds me so much about the great story of Christmas. Now that word, affirmation, means to be firm. It means a sense of strong consent, of agreement, a total yes. In Christmas, we celebrate this beautiful event, the fidelity of God the Father to the promise he made right from of old. We celebrate the Son's eternal yes to the will of the eternal Father. There is also another beautiful thing that the Abbot St. Bernard said with regard to our Blessed Mother. We celebrate Mary's yes to the will of the eternal Father. Abbot Bernard pictures our Blessed Lady, the whole world waiting for her to say yes. And he says that in terms that are very strong. He said, hey, Mary, the world is waiting for you. The whole creation's fate hang on you. Please say yes in the boldness of your humility, in the confidence of your modesty, and in the prudence of your virginal simplicity. The total yes to the will of the Father. That's a great event we celebrate today, and we can never be tired of celebrating it. The prophet Isaiah has been telling us of this story all through the period of Advent. We see again in all the masses of the Christmas, Isaiah goes on. He's not tired of telling us this great event. For instance, in Isaiah chapter 62 from verses 1 to 5, again from verses 11 to 12, Isaiah tells us something to the effect of God the Father, who affirms creation, affirms humanity. Says, God calls us this beautiful Hebrew word, we are the Lord's Hesivah. Sometimes the English translation uses the word, you are the Lord's delight, and your land will be called Beulah. Your land will no longer be forsaken. You are a crown of glory in the hands of God, a royal diadem. And all this is because our Savior comes. In fact, our Savior has come. Again, in the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 9, verses 1 to 5, and also Isaiah chapter 52, he says, a baby, a son, is born unto us, and the people living in darkness now have seen great light. And all because a son has been born to us. If we go to the Gospels of the Masses of this Christmas Day, also from the Mass at Vigil, the Midnight Mass, the Mass at Dawn, as well as the Mass during the day, is all still this beautiful story of God's loving affirmation of his creation. Matthew chapter 1 from verses 1 to 25, for instance, Luke chapter 2 from verses 1 to 20, and the The Gospel of John, chapter 1, from verses 1 to 18, John tells us something to the effect that the Word has taken flesh, and that verbum incarnatus est that is now living among us. We all have benefited from his grace, the fullness of his grace and the truth. And all this, again, is because the Son has been born unto us. Jesus, Emmanuel, is now among us. When the angels heard that beautiful news in the Gospel of Luke, they couldn't contain the joy, running helter-skelter, sharing this beautiful message of joy with creation. That is the beautiful story, the event that we celebrate today. We celebrate the beautiful event that God the Father has entered into our humanity. God enters into our humanity in humility, into our poverty, into our simplicity. And if God has decided to pitch his tent in us and with humanity, I think it is because there is something beautiful about God's creation. There is goodness in what God has created. There is goodness in God's people. There is goodness in the world. And God thinks that creation, humanity, we are worth saving. We are worth fighting for. Even we are worth dying for. The Son of God dying for creation. That's our joy. That's why we are celebrating this beautiful day. We celebrate it in words. Words are not even enough. Think of the many Christmas songs that have been composed again to celebrate the event of today. And I think even words and singing or songs are not enough. That we also celebrate it with statues. We have statues of pictures of Jesus' birth to make the celebration, the feast of today, very understandable. Something that even the littlest of us can identify with. St. Francis of Assisi did something to this effect. He said that St. Francis once called his friends and asked them to make a cave and put a manger in this cave, and in the manger to put in straws and animals, an ox, a donkey, a sheep. And then St. Francis places an altar on the manger and celebrated that midnight mass. And because he was not a priest, he preached the homily on the midnight mass. And in the homily, St. Francis uses that to make people understand the great feast that we celebrate. Yes, Jesus Christ may have come to us once in human form, and now Jesus still comes to us in form of our food and our drink. And by doing that, even the littlest of the children were able to understand and make the connection about the beautiful feast that we celebrate today. It is the St. Francis that gave us the Stations of the Cross, and through the crib of Christmas, he makes this event come so much alive to God's creation, to Christians, to all those who celebrate the beautiful event of today. The big question, the million-dollar question is this: how can you and I, how can God's children today who celebrate this feast this year, how can we make the story, the feast of the Lord's Nativity, come even more alive to the world around us, to our families, to our communities, to our society? When I was a little child, I still remember my father will come home on a Christmas day with bags of rice, and he will divide these bags of rice in little bags, and he gave it to us to go and share to the widows and some poor people around us. Every time I remember that, it makes me so excited. And those of us who are lucky to belong to the Catholic Diocese of Ahiara, especially during this year, God has also given us a beautiful Christmas gift, the gift of our newly consecrated, our newly ordained auxiliary bishop. And we all are happy and joyful because of that. So it's left for us now to find a meaningful and better way to share our joy like the angels, and to make the great feast and celebration of the Nativity of the Lord come even more alive to the people around us. Once more, Merry Christmas to all of you, and don't let anything dampen your joy.